What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Between the Uprights. I am here with Joe and Chris. My name is Matt. And just real quick before we get into the NFL's biggest stories of the upcoming season, be sure to subscribe to the channel for us. We are just starting this thing up here at Between the Uprights. We love football. We love the NFL. And if you're seeing this, you probably do too. So if you like what you see, hitting that subscribe button would mean a lot to us. We would greatly appreciate it. And thank you in advance. Now, let's not dilly-dally around here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into these NFL storylines where the league is in a great place. Pretty much every team either has playoff hopes or some young players and a plan for the future. A seemingly great 2024 rookie class looks to have a big impact in year one. Players, coaches, and teams looking to cement their legacies or finally overcome the Super Bowl hurdle. There are some huge new rule changes that could make the league even more entertaining as well, and much, much more. So obviously a ton of fun storylines to choose from, but that's why you watch Between the Uprights, because we're here to tell you which ones are the biggest and most important to watch this upcoming season. But for me, my biggest storyline for this 2024 season, I liked a lot of your guys' options. I also think the rookie quarterbacks is a huge storyline. Some extra talented in good situations, some extra talented not in good situations. And then there's some that aren't as talented in good situations. To me, I love Caleb Williams. To me, he's a generational player. I want to see what he does with all that offensive talent that he has in Chicago. And I'm just really interested in general seeing which really rookie quarterbacks thrive early in this season. And like we just talked about Aaron Rodgers, that's one that I'm really, really excited to see because it's just going to be entertaining. But personally, my choice is, and this is actually the right answer, whether we as NFL fans want to admit it or not, it's the easy answer. It's the cop-out answer. It's the safe answer. It's the I'm at a restaurant, I don't know what to get, I'm ordering chicken tenders answer. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs being the first NFL team to ever repeat as Super Bowl champions. And they have a great shot to do it. Pretty much any sports book you look at has the Chiefs as slight favorites over the Niners to make it 3 straight titles. Let me tell you what NFL history says about that, though. There have been 8 teams to repeat as Super Bowl champions throughout NFL history. The 66-67 Packers won. This was the first, or this was Bart Starr and Vince Lombardi combination. They were the first. The second one, they were the Miami Dolphins in 72-73. This was Bob Greasy and Don Shula here. And in that 72 season, they went undefeated. The first team ever to go undefeated and the only team ever to go undefeated. The third team to repeat as Super Bowl champions was the Steelers. They did it twice in the 70s, in 74-75 and in 78-79. This was Terry Bradshaw, Chuck Nolan, the Steel Curtain. The fifth team to do it was the San Francisco 49ers in 88-89. This was obviously Montana, Rice, Walsh, and San Francisco. Then this, what am I on, 5 or 6? Am I on 5 right now? Okay, wait, no, that was 4. I'm tripping. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm on 5. The Cowboys were the 5th team to do it in 92-93. That was Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and Jimmy Johnson. Then the 6th team was the Denver Broncos in 97-98 with John Elway and Mike Shanahan. The 7th team, as we know, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in 2003 and 2004. And now Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Chiefs in 2022 and 2023. First of all, basically all these teams have the same common denominator, okay? And it's the same thing that we touched on in the Chargers segment with Harbaugh and Herbert. We got an all-time great coach and an all-time great quarterback. So if you want a dynasty, ladies and gentlemen, that is your formula, okay? Obviously easier said than done, or else everybody would do it, but that is the formula, okay? What's another common denominator? None of those teams won 3 championships in a row. Technically, the Lombardi Star Packers won 3 NFL championships in a row from 65 to 67, but the first Super Bowl wasn't until 66, so technically they only have 2 straight Super Bowl wins. Nonetheless, the point is, it has never been done. No one's done it in the history of football. And now, finally, another historic team has a chance to do it in Kansas City. And even though it's never been done, this is a team that, again, whether we want to admit it or not, cannot be counted out under any circumstances whatsoever. We've seen it postseason after postseason. We've seen playoff games where they started off down 24-0 and came back to win by double digits. We've seen all 3 Super Bowl wins from this team. They were down by double digits and came back to win. And last year, we saw them look very average in the regular season offensively. The defense turned it around. They looked amazing last year. They were one of the best defenses in the league. But the offense was lagging way behind. That caused everyone to believe they were done and dead. And if you guys remember last year, every week I was still saying, I still got the Chiefs. And that was my preseason Super Bowl pick last year. And I think it was only me and Nick Wright that stayed on that bandwagon at the end of the year. And Nick only stayed on the bandwagon because he's from Kansas City. I'm a Patriots fan. It pained me to stay on that bandwagon. But listen, they always have a shot in any game they are in, and probably should be the favorites in any game that they are in, because they still have the best quarterback, the best coach, and the best tight end in football. And still, even with the loss of star corner L'Jarius Sneed in this offseason, one of the best defenses in the league as well. So now, in the offseason, they've also added a bunch of key additions, a ton of outside speed with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Mahomes may be looking like his first MVP self year, where he was throwing deep balls to Tyreek Hill every other play. He might be doing that this year with that kind of speed on the outside. It looks like they'll still have Rashee Rice this year as well, even though he's facing a potential suspension. And even though his off-field character can definitely be questioned at this point, his on-field performance as a rookie, especially late in the season and in the playoffs, cannot be. He was awesome and very, very important for them last year. And the defense looks to be really, really good again. And they also might be in the weakest division in football this year, with all three of the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos either with new coaches or two of the teams with new quarterbacks, and a lot of uncertainty as well. So this team is going to be back in the playoffs. They're going to win the division again. They're going to have a first-round bye again, and it's going to be an AFC championship in Arrowhead Stadium again. And that's what I know basically for certain, as long as Mahomes, Kelce, and Reid are there. So what happens after that will determine whether or not they're the first team ever in the Super Bowl era to three-peat as Super Bowl champions. And don't get me wrong, again, I'm not rooting for this. Everyone outside of Kansas City is not rooting for this at this point, okay? We're all tired of the Mahomes stuff. We're all tired of the Travis Kelce stuff, and obviously now the Taylor Swift stuff, even though the outrage of the Taylor Swift stuff has been a little bit weird to me. Like, I'm not bothered by Taylor Swift at a football game and them showing her. It's not like they're like showing her instead of the game. Like, they're still showing the football game. I'm still watching the football game. But anyways, none of us want to see the Chiefs win. And we all here as Patriots fans might not like to say this or admit this, but the Chiefs are the new Patriots. They are the dynasty. They are a dynasty. And as was the case when it was Brady and Belichick, no matter what happened for the regular season, no matter what the team or the roster looked like going into the postseason, we knew a few things. Number one, they were dangerous. Number two, you couldn't count them out. And number three, they were going to find a way to get it done. So NFL fans, I get it. It's easy to root against the bad guy. I certainly will also be rooting against the bad guy. If you think for a second the bad guy is dead, they are not dead. I'm telling you right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are not dead. They are coming for Super Bowl ring number 4 overall and 3 in a row. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is easily the biggest storyline in the NFL. What you guys got?
I mean, listen, Xavier Worthy's got a lot to prove. Whereas
for sure.
he was up and down the draft board. They just brought back Juju Smith-Schuster, who couldn't make it on a Patriots team that was devoid of talent at the wide receiver position. Rashee Rice has got his problems. We still don't know what's going to come of that suspension, whatever may happen, depending on how that court case goes. They're not expecting anything this year, so he will be available, barring any new, evidence and how that works out. And then Hollywood Brown, who has had some injury concerns recently, is questionable on their depth chart currently. They have a really good first line of skill players. Sky Moore is obviously still there, and he's had some flashes in the pan. The biggest issue is that they have quite a few games of top-tier talent that they're going to go through very early on. They open the season with back-to-backs at home. Baltimore at home, Bengals at home, and then they travel to Atlanta with Kirk Cousins and that new offense that they have there. And let's be fair, they now have a quarterback in Atlanta, and that offense is going to be good, and Kirk does like his tight ends. So for all those Kyle Pitts hopefuls out there, this might actually be your year.
Might be the
year. So that's going to be a rough one. Then they get the Chargers, Saints, at 49ers, at Raiders. Raiders always play them tough. I don't, especially there. Gardner Minshew is a wild card. I think that, for those divisional games like that, when the crowd's pumped, he plays next level, and they still have a solid offense and defense there in Las Vegas. Then he gets the Bucks at the Bills. I'm not even going to mention the next game after that. And then he's got the Texans. So they face 7 games with playoff caliber teams right off the rip. They got to win at least half of those to win the AFC. And I think that's a very valid point, because if Aaron Rodgers is healthy with that Jets team, they're going to be rolling. And we did see, like I said,
maybe
the Chiefs did have the fewest air yards per pass thrown last year. They did a lot of their damage with the athleticism of the players they had. That is not always a recipe for success, and they relied a lot on a defense that did play, if not the best football down the stretch on the defense side of the ball, pretty damn close. And once they got, Jones back in there, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, and he came back, their team changed. Their dynamic changed. Because early on, we looked at that Chiefs defense and we were like, this is not good. They are not getting pressure. Things are not, it didn't look crisp. But they're gonna face a Chiefs team with Derek or a Ravens team in week 1 in Kansas City with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. That's scary. That is not a good time. Then you get a Bengals team with a healthy, looking for a big, big start to the year, Joe Burrow with a Bengals offense that is also deadly. And then you get the Falcons with their new revamped offense. They're going to face 3 top-tier, high-flying offenses without one of the best corners they've ever had in Kansas City. We're going to find out very early on if Kansas City has it in them to three-peat. Because those first 3 games, those are tough. I don't care what anyone, you can sit here, and roll your eyes and, it's the Chiefs and it's Andy Reid and they got all this stuff. That is a tough opening 3 games. And then you get the Chargers in Los Angeles. So you go back-to-back at home, back-to-back on the road, and then you're back home for the Saints, and then back-to-back on the road again. So that right there, they play 4 of their first 7 games back-to-back on the road. They have the Falcons in Atlanta, then they travel to LA, back home to Kansas City, and then back for a double West Coast for San Fran and Las Vegas. That is a lot of miles to travel. Plus, you played longer into the year than any of those teams outside of the 49ers even thought about. Outside of maybe the Ravens still. But, so, I think that this opening part of the schedule is going to be a lot tougher for them than we think. Now, that being said, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It was a long-winded way. I can't just agree with you. I had to say something. We're gonna be what Matt said.
I had 100 retorts to what you said. Yeah.
It's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
You took the scenic route.
I like to look at the trees and the flowers and smell the roses a little bit and pray to God that this doesn't fucking happen. But it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Like, if any team was going to three-peat, it's one of the greatest offensive minds the NFL has ever seen in Andy Reid. Get the fucking cheeseburgers ready in New Orleans, people, because he's going to need them motherfuckers instantaneously when the wheels hit the tarmac. Be ready, because he's going. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. And let's be fair, if they win this three-peat, I'm putting a lot of money, right? Like, if they go to the Super Bowl, your boy's putting a paycheck on Chiefs Super Bowl victory and then a fucking Travis Kelce retirement announcement.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
bro, I will parlay that shit straight to the bank. Especially because he's already been talking about it. One more, if they three-peat something that's never been done, going out on top, arguably the best tight end in football to ever play the position. We can have our arguments about the Gronk case, things like that. Patriots fans are going to hate me wearing this shit saying that Travis Kelce better than Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I should have worn my Gronk jersey just to make it worse, but I didn't. But this is a very real possibility that this is going to happen. And I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I don't see how you could not unless you're, a Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, Patriots fan, realistically, but it is what it is, man. This is where we are in football right now. You got sick and tired of Tom Brady for 20 years, and now we've had Patrick Mahomes for the last, 8 or 9 or whatever it's been. So get used to it, people. This is what it's going to look like for the future. And until Travis Kelce leaves, there's really not going to be a change. And even if he does leave, Andy Reid will just flip a switch and change the offense again, because that's what he does.
That's what he does. It's insane what they've done, and like you talked about, Joe, I'm kind of glad I'm a Patriots fan because like we kind of got Mahomes like before he was really Mahomes, like we got him in that AFC Championship game, and then Brady got him again in Tampa Bay when they were kind of banged up on the offensive line. So like as soon as that happened, it's like, hey, I'm good. Like you can win all the championships now. Like we got ours, so you can get yours now, and then once you start fading away, we can come back and get ours again. So yeah, it's a they're ridiculous. And like you mentioned, it's a tough schedule. Like even the first 3 games, you would be surprised if we sat up here, we start a week 4 and the Chiefs are 3-0. Like I'm not going to be shocked if they're 3-0 starting week 4. It's going to be tough. Obviously, the schedule looks tough, but I'm not going to be surprised if Mahomes and Reid rattle off a 14-3 and a number 1 seed in the AFC. It just seems that's what they do every year. So I'm not going to be shocked if it happens again. But Chris, I'm going to kick it to you. What do you think about the
Yep.
Chiefs in this quest for their three-peat here in 2024?
I'm not gonna take the scenic route. I think Joe has it's killed the scenic route version. Um, yeah, no, I mean, I pretty much agree with most of the things that have been said about the Chiefs. I don't think it's coming to anybody's surprise that it's a possibility. I definitely think they win their division probably with ease, to be honest. Um, but me, I don't know if you would necessarily call it a wild card, but as far as winning the conference, for me personally, I do feel like we are in this era where Lamar Jackson takes that step. I think
I
Lamar
like it.
Jackson takes that step. I think Zay Flowers has a fantastic second year season. I think with Derrick Henry in the backfield, a lot of the pressure is now off of them. You have to pay attention to him, right? You can't just ignore Derrick Henry. There's no way you ignore him. So if you're playing for Derrick Henry, then you're giving Lamar Jackson a lot of RPO options, a lot of them. And Zay Flowers is fast, like
Mm-hmm.
ridiculously fast. And we know Lamar Jackson is fast as well. And I think it's never been a regular season issue with Lamar. I think it's always been in the playoffs. It's always a playoff thing. So I think this year, I hope this year, for everybody's sake, I hope this is his year. And I agree with you when you say like at least as Patriots fans, we got early Patrick Mahomes. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I correlate that to I don't know if you guys remember this, I correlate that to the Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mayweather got Alvarez early when he was super young, right? For those who don't know, we're talking about boxing. Uh, that was basically up until recently, that was Alvarez's only loss. And then he went on and he shot up into stardom and has been ever since and has been killing it. I feel like that's what we did. Brady was the Mayweather of the NFL, and he did the same thing with Mahomes. But just like Joe said, they do have a couple question marks though, right? Like as great as they are, there's no team I don't feel like that is coming in to this year that does not have question marks. And it's a new year. So that means right now, anything's possible. Any team could be a Super Bowl team at this exact moment. So we don't know if they're going to 3P. I hope they don't 3P personally. Um, but we'll see. But like you said, I guess I did go the long winded route. With all that said, I'd say it's probably a 75% possibility, but I am hoping that Lamar Jackson finally takes that step because I feel like it's either going to be the Bengals or Lamar Jackson. I want to say the Texans, I really do, but I am so scared because it's CJ Stroud's second year. And I there's always that second year
Sophomore
slump.
slump.
They have so much crowding in that wide receiver room. They just got Stephon Diggs, who we know kinda is a baby brat about not getting the ball. So I don't know what that's going to look like for them right now. So my theory is it's either gonna be the Bengals or the Ravens who unseat the Chiefs if it is possible. But if they can't do it, if Burrow can't be pre-injury Burrow and Lamar Jackson can't get over this playoff hump, then unfortunately we probably will be seeing the Chiefs in Super Bowl wherever it may be this year.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I love the Lamar take because I just love Lamar Jackson. Lamar
same.
Jackson's like one of my favorite players in the league. He's just an easy guy to like. He seems real laid
Yep.
back. He's obviously an electric player when he's on the field. He seems like a great dude too. But I
Yep.
just the playoffs concerns.
No
It just
rough.
he just concerns me a little bit too much in the playoffs. And whereas when the Chiefs get to the playoffs, no matter what happened in the regular season, you have zero concerns at whatsoever. You
Yeah.
know they're going to show up for the playoffs. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that concerns me about the Ravens at all, and
Well,
it's the biggest thing.
I got good
yep.
news for you. I got good news for you. The Ravens happen to have a quarterback on a player on their team who has a 123 rating, has a 77.8% completion percentage, backing up Lamar Jackson. It's Derrick Henry. He's 7 of 9, thrown 4 touchdowns, baby.
Nice.
So if
And
Lamar Jackson ain't throwing tons, Derrick Henry's going to be throwing some tons.
We need to, like Bill Polian wanted to do before Lamar Jackson got drafted, move Lamar to receiver and move Derrick Henry to quarterback, and then bang, just
there you go. Easy peasy.
The Lamar
Winning
Henry
combo.
connection. The Lamar Henry connection. That's why they did
Easy
it. That's why
combo.
they signed Henry, not because he's 6'4" and 280 and just runs everybody over, but because he's going to play quarterback. That's why they did it.
Put him in the Wildcat, split Lamar out, and he's just going to throw Lamar bombs.
There you go. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's how the Ravens will get over the hump. But
Heard it here first. If it happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they tune into the between the uprights right there for that kind of high level analysis that Derrick Henry's going to play quarterback for the Ravens. But it's going to be interesting to see from a Chiefs perspective. I mean, these guys are an absolute juggernaut. Again, I don't think anybody wants to see him win at this point, but at a certain point, you just got to give it up to greatness. I mean, it's been greatness for the last half decade.
Come on, we remember the hate, guys. We remember the hate.
Yeah,
people were saying the same thing.
We got a lot of it, and now we're kind of pushing that on the Chiefs. So, but again, you got to respect it at the end of the day. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and we'll see if they can repeat as 3-time defending, the first three-peat ever Super Bowl champions in 2024. It is going to be very interesting to see. Okay, I'll hit the outro. But that is going to do it for us today here at Between the Uprights. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below your thoughts. Are we tripping? What do y'all have as the biggest storyline going into the 2024 season? Let us know, and make sure you like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to us, and that is going to be it for us. Peace.